my dear learners. Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब, सलाम वालेकुम, सबको राम राम, जय श्री कृष्ण, सबको बहुत सारा प्यार मेरी ओर से, मेरी तरफ से. Okay, now what we're gonna start with is the syllabus. So syllabus is the crucial factor. It's the foundation, before before we embark on the odyssey of learning. So we are gonna have a look at the syllabus. So the annual syllabus of the year 2024 till 2025. This is for class 12. I'll be doing it for class 11th as well. For the subject English core, you should be knowing the code number as well. All of you should be having the code number on your fingertips. That is 301. Right? Now moving on to reading A, that is reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is of 22 marks. Clear? You have to have the knowledge of how application based, competency based questions or MCQs or true and false or analytical questions are asked in order to analyze, in order to comprehend in order to see how well you comprehend, how well you are able to articulate, and how well you are able to understand the nuances, right? Secondly, we move on to section B, that is writing skills. Now herein, how you write, how you have understood, how you your writing skills, they are basically observed, and it is for 18 marks. This is for 18 marks. Then we move on to section C, which is for 40 marks, Section C, that is literature. It's quintessential, it's very essential. Why? Because it's for 40 marks. So you have to concentrate on literature portion the most, according to me. Then focus on section A, and then on section B, right? You should ideally focus on literature, then move on to section B, and then section A. That should be the sequence, right? That should be the major sequence when we talk about the exam, the final exam, the major board examination. Then you should move on from section C to section B to section A. Clear? Then you have assessment of listening and speaking skills, which would be including projects, right? And it would be for 20 marks. Now you have got textbooks in literature. The first name of the textbook is Flamingo, right? When we talk about Flamingo, you have prose, you have poetry. Then you have another textbook which is Vistas. Clear? Now when we talk about Flamingo book, you have got under prose section, you have lesson 1, that is the last lesson that you begin with. Then you have lesson 2, that is Lost Spring. Then you have lesson 3, that is Deep Water. Then you have lesson 4, that is The Rat Trap. Then you have lesson 5, that is Indigo. Then you have the poetry, right? You have the first poem, My Mother at 66. Then you have the second poem, Keeping Quiet. Then you have the third one, A Thing of Beauty. And then you have Vistas. Clear? In Vistas, you have the third level. You have the Tiger King. You have Journey to the End of the Earth. You have The Enemy. These are the 4 lessons in Vistas. And then we have reading skills. Under reading skills, what do we get to see is the unseen passage types. So when we talk about unseen passages, your comprehension passages, we often tend to talk about the factual passages, the descriptive passages, the literary passages. So there are basically different types of passages. Clear? So you have the literary passage, you have the descriptive passage, you have the factual passage, and then you have unseen case-based factual passage with verbal. These include verbal, visual, inputs like statistical data or charts so that you can analyze. So these test your analytical skills. Clear? Now the combined word limit for both the passages will be 700 to 750 words. So the combined, whenever we talk about the combined word limit, the word limit of both the passages, it should be around 700 to 750 words. Clear? Then we move on to the creative writing skills. Now, when we talk about the creative writing skills, then we talk about the short composition. Under short composition, you have notice writing, you have formal and informal invitation reply, and you have formal and informal invitation and its replies. Word limit should be 50, right? For notice also it's 50. For this thing, formal and informal invitation and it replies also, it's 50. It's set to 50. Remember that. Now letter writing, when we are talking about letter writing, it should be based on visual and or it should be based on verbal input in 120 to 150 words. So please, whenever we talk about the writing skills or the literature portion, keep in mind how many words you are supposed to be writing, so that you don't end up wasting time and energy. Sometimes you tend to write a lot, or sometimes you tend to write very less in a 6-marker question. Suppose you have written more in a 3-marker question, you have written more in a 2-marker question, but you have written less. This is just an example. You have written less in a 6-marker question where it was required to have been, you were supposed to write between the word limit of 120 to 150 words there, and you wrote only 50 words. So that won't be taken into account, right? That would put a lot of negative impression on the examiner. Okay, so now application for these are the letter types. Now when we talk about the letter types, you have application for a job and biodata, or you may call it resume. Then you have letter to the editor, right, giving suggestions or opinion on issues of public interest, wherein you tend to give suggestions and your own opinion or on the issues that are of public interest, not only of your interest but of public interest. Clear? Then when we talk about article writing, and when we talk about article writing, we are talking about how it is based on verbal and based on verbal inputs in 120 to 150 words again, right? May be descriptive and analytical in nature. So this again may be descriptive and analytical in nature. Clear? Now when we talk about report writing, it should be based on again verbal inputs, and it again should be in 120 to 150 words. Just like article writing, it should be between 120, it should range between 120 to 150 words. It should be again descriptive, it may be descriptive, it may be analytical in nature. Clear? Then we move on to the internal assessment. Assessment of listening skills would be for 5 marks. Assessment of speaking skills again would be for 5 marks. Project work in totality, it would be for 10 marks, right? Because we are talking about assessment of listening skills, which is for 5 marks, and then assessment of speaking skills, which is again for 5 marks, which makes it to 10. Now note is also given that the above mentioned syllabus should be completed by September 13, 2024. So this syllabus, the syllabus that has been mentioned above, should be completed till September. Then revision should be done, and then midterm examination would be there for you people, for you guys out there. Then we move on to textbooks, Flamingo. Then comes prose. Again we talk about Flamingo book. We are talking about the prose section. Now under prose section you have lesson 6, poets and pancakes, lesson 7, the interview, Lesson 8, going places. And under poetry, you have the second category, that is poetry. Under poetry, you have poem 4, A Roadside Stand, then poem 5, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. And when we talk about Vistas, the second book, we talk about lesson 5, On the Face of It, then lesson 6, Memories of Childhood. Memories of Childhood is divided into two subparts, The Cutting of My Long Hair and We Too Are Human Beings, right? And then we move on to reading skills. We again see unseen passage, factual passage, which again is divided into factual passage, descriptive passage, literary passage. Unseen case based factual passage with verbal, visual inputs like statistical data, charts, etc. The combined word limit for both the passages, should be 700 to 750 words. And then we move on to creative writing skills. Short composition, again notice writing, formal invitation and replies. Word limit should be 50 words. So letter writing based on visual or verbal inputs in 120 to 150 words. Letter types, application for a job, and then again, yeah. So I don't know why it has been repeated. Okay, it has been repeated because yeah. Then again, you would be having formal and informal invitation and replies. Word limit should be 50 words. Then letter writing which should be based on visual or verbal input in 120 to 150 words. Letter type should be application for a job with biodata or resume. Letter to the editor giving suggestions or opinion on issues of public interest. Article writing based on verbal inputs in 120 to 150 words, may be descriptive, analytical in nature. Report writing based on a verbal inputs in 120 to 150 words, again may be descriptive and analytical in nature. Internal assessment again would be done. Assessment of listening skills for 5 marks, assessment of speaking skills for 5 marks, project work for 10 marks, right? All the syllabus should be completed by December 13, 2024. In pre-board or annual examination, questions will be asked from the entire syllabus. So it is not that in pre-board or annual examinations some lessons would be left or would not be taught. Each and every lesson has to be covered and questions will be asked from the entire syllabus. So no chapter can be left, no poem can be left. Yeah? Alright. So that was it. If you have any queries, if you have any suggestions, if you have any pointers, if you have any doubts, you can just let me know. I'll be there. I'm there to answer all your queries, to answer all your doubts. You can contact me anytime, right? This is Sukriti Joshi. Till then, stay tuned. This is Sukriti Joshi signing off. Bye bye, my lovely audience.